I swear I'm not going through some sort of crisis. I am just tired of having long hair. So as you can see from the title, I am going to cut my hair today, and I decided I'm going to film it because why not? I am going to follow Brad Mondo's tutorial, and then I also found another one in case I don't like how it looked. But at the beginning of quarantine, I did follow this tutorial to take off like maybe 2 inches of my hair, but I'm thinking I am going to cut off maybe 3 to 5 inches today, just because my hair is so long at this point. I've had it longer before, but once it gets to this length, I can't do anything with it. It doesn't curl, it doesn't do its natural curls, it just kind of is limp and bleh. And it's almost as long as my arm, and I'm just kind of tired of always throwing it up in a bun, even though I'm pretty sure if I cut this, I'm still just gonna throw it up in a bun because it's so much easier than actually doing my hair. I did post on Instagram where I said anyone could ask me any questions, so I might check that throughout the video and answer some questions here or there, but for the most part, I'm just going to be following this tutorial and trying to not mess up my hair too bad. But you know what? We're in quarantine and I have no one to see, and also my hair grows really fast, so if I mess it up, I'm really not worried about it growing fast. So I think that's all I'm going to say for right now. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I guess I can show you the back of my hair too. I don't know how far up I need to sit, but that's the back. It's long. It's a little bit too long, so we're gonna fix that. I've already been filming for 14 minutes and I haven't even made the first cut. Alright, I have my hair in sections. I don't know how perfect it is. I tried my very best, but it's only me able to do this right now. So my first question is, if you could make every person in the world read one book, what would it be? And I'm just gonna go ahead and start cutting my hair while I answer this because it'll distract me from the fact that I'm chopping my hair off right now. So if I could make everybody read one book, what would it be? I might say right now, The House in the Cerulean Sea. I just think that that book is so precious, so sweet. I love everything about that book so much. And I think that it just has a really good message overall of not judging people based on your first impressions of them, and also going out into the world and finding the things that you've always wanted to do and not being too scared to go do them, because I feel like that's a message I need for myself because I am very introverted and I don't do a lot of spontaneous things, and I have a whole lot of plans and dreams that I just don't really go after because I'm very scared to do them, because I'm very scared to take risks. So I feel like The House in the Cerulean Sea really helps people understand that taking risks is not a bad thing, and that it's also never too late to find love, which I also think is a really beautiful message. Plus the kids in the story are so adorable. I absolutely love them. And I also just chopped off this much of my hair. All right, one section down. Whoa. And now that I officially have hair everywhere, let's do the next part. I think I saw somebody else ask me a question, so let me try and pull that one up before I start cutting again. Next question is favorite book romance of all time. I have to think about this one. Give me a second. Favorite book romance of all time. Okay. 2 parts down. Okay, so I'm not really sure what my favorite romance of all time would be. I really like Katniss and Peeta, but I feel like that's not really a romance story. I just felt like their connection was really good in the book, but it was set in a dystopian world and really nobody should be falling in love during that time. So some of my favorite books from this year that have romances that I really like, I would say all of the romances in the Green Creek series. Of course, I've talked about this a million times, but I just really rooted for every single one of those romances. I also really liked Yadriel and Julian in Cemetery Boys, and I also like the romance in Red, White, and Royal Blue. I feel like those two had really good chemistry. Wow, I'm only saying male romances. Do I have any sapphic or straight romances? Is that bad that I don't really think about those? very often. Oh my goodness, I think I'm just not at the point where I have found my all-time favorite book romance yet. Okay, I did like Kaz and Inej, but they're like, I don't know, they're not really together either. So I don't know, this question's really hard. I could tell you my like OTP with my Supernatural ship, but book romances, I don't think I have one. Okay, that tells me I need to read more romance. All right, now that the front of my hair is short and the back is pretty long, I need to cut the back a bit, so give me a little bit. All right, 3 sections down. The next question is again from Marley Reads a Lot, and she asked me, were you satisfied with the ending of Supernatural? And I can go on a tangent about this one. Okay, so was I satisfied with the Supernatural ending? No, I was not. No, I was not. I think I was very like stone-faced the entire episode. I just felt like I was not watching the show that I had come to love. And I know that they filmed it during COVID time, so they had a lot of restrictions on what they could do. But I felt overall like I was just watching a completely different ending than what they were setting up for the entire season. I felt like they did a lot of strong things in this last season, because Supernatural has kind of not been the greatest since probably season 7 all the way up until this final season. And I thought season 15 they were kind of turning it around and really putting things in place that was building up to a really great ending, and it was just super lackluster. I felt like, I guess this next part will be spoilers if you haven't seen the ending, but I felt like all of the characters got an ending that I guess makes logical sense for their initial characters, as in like the first couple of seasons. Like this ending makes sense for those versions of them. If this ending would have happened after season 3, 4, or 5, I feel like it would have definitely made sense to the characters, but it does not make sense to the characters now after 15 years. Especially Dean. I am very, very, very mad at how they ended things with Dean, because this was an ending that he said that he was always going to have, and that's exactly why I think he should not have had the ending that he did. I feel like it didn't send a very good message towards life in general, because the message that Dean seemed to get was that the happiness that he is able to have is only after his death, that in heaven that's the only way that he's able to get the things that he wants and deserves in his life, and I don't enjoy that message that it gave. I felt like because Dean always thought that he was going to go out guns a-blazing in a big battle, or he was going to die on the job, that's why he shouldn't have. He should have been the one who had got to live to old age. If they needed to kill one of the brothers, which I still don't agree with, I felt like Dean should have been the one to have to live out his life, even though it wouldn't have made sense for Dean to live without Sam. So I don't like that they ended with the brothers not being together throughout the rest of their lives. Like, they could have gone their separate ways, yes, because they're mostly codependent on each other throughout the entire series. I get it a little bit, but I don't really accept it. And I just felt like watching Sam's life was so lonely. He didn't seem very happy, and the fact that they didn't have Eileen be the person that Sam ends up with, because that's who they were hinting at the entire season that he was going to be with. That bothered me a lot. And then of course, because Destiel is my OTP, I love Dean and Cass together. I just felt like it was very wasted what they did with season 18. It felt like they were just baiting us the entire time. They were using Misha and Cass as views, and they killed him off in season 18. Most of us all thought that Cass was going to come back. Of course he was going to come back. And when Dean went to heaven, who would you expect to be there but his angel? And Cass wasn't even there. Even if they weren't going to end up together and it was going to be an ambiguous ending for those two, it just felt wrong to not have Cass be there when Dean was in heaven. Even if the last scene needed to be Sam and Dean together, I just don't get why Cass wasn't there at all. Not even Cass's voice. The last time we heard Cass's voice was as a prank call from Lucifer pretending to be Cass, and I feel like all of us who love Cass were very robbed of his ending and of the people who wanted Dean and Cass to be together. I feel like the CW missed a big opportunity to make a big moment like that of them just being together. So I was not very happy. I angry cried for a couple of days, and I feel like I've just kind of gone through the stages of grief, honestly, and I have just kind of accepted it as it is what it is, but I will never watch that ending ever again. Also, my camera is dying, of course, so I'm gonna go charge that for a few minutes and I'm gonna chop the next bit of my hair. All right, the quality and the position of this is going to change a bit because I'm gonna be on my phone for a little bit, but I just took down the sections and it's not the greatest, but it's also not as bad as I expected it to be. So I'm going to clean up some of these edges and then follow the next step of the tutorial. I just cut my finger. I have to make turkey tomorrow, dang it. All right, be careful when you're cutting, because that hurts. The back is not good. Not good at all. We'll work on it. My arms are jello. Okay, I just had to go check the questions really quick, and Jess from Books Past Bedtime, oh my goodness, I'm struggling to say names, just asked if I am an early Christmas shopper or like a last minute Christmas shopper, and I'm actually an early Christmas shopper. I like to get everything shopped for and purchased by Black Friday, and then I'll just do a couple last minute ones the couple weeks leading up to Christmas, but usually I am all packed and wrapped within a week before Christmas is my goal, because I don't like last minute shopping, and I also don't like going to very populated places. So if I can avoid crowds at all cost, I will avoid crowds at all cost. The biggest shopping day I usually go to is Black Friday with my family, and I like cling to my mom the entire time and don't let her out of my sight the entire time because I don't like being around people if I don't have to be. So I am an early Christmas shopper because crowds are not my favorite thing ever. Least favorite, probably. It looks like the next question is, if I could live anywhere in real life, where would I go? And if I could live anywhere from a fictional world, where would I live? Okay, so in real life, I have only ever lived in Arizona, so, oh, I'm super crooked too. Whoopsie. Well, that's worse. So I've only ever lived in Arizona, so I would like to just live someplace with seasons, but I am big on my family and being around my family, so I don't know if I could live anywhere else for long. I just want to live where my family lives. So if we all up and moved someplace together, that would be great. But I have a best friend who lives in Chicago, so I would like to live there for like a summer to maybe 6 months or something, just to see the seasons and be around my best friend again. Other than that, I used to want to live in California, but now that I'm an adult and know how expensive it is, that's a no-go for me. But yeah, someplace with seasons would be nice to live for like a year or two, and then I'd probably move back to Arizona. I don't know. I just need to be where my family is. That's a big one. But a fictional world that I would like to live in, I don't really know. I feel like any fantasy world could be pretty cool to have, like magical powers maybe. I was also thinking that the world in TJ Klune's The Extraordinaries would be pretty cool because there'd be superheroes, and being a superhero would be kind of fun, and getting to actually see real superheroes would be pretty fun too. So maybe that, but maybe, I don't know. I feel like there's so many cool worlds, but worlds that I wouldn't want to live in because either the women aren't treated very well or it's just kind of dangerous. Like I wouldn't want to live in the Hunger Games world. It's cool. It's a really cool world, but I wouldn't want to live there. And maybe The Extraordinaries because they're superheroes and I like superheroes. I think that would be really cool to actually like hear of real life superheroes and have people with superhuman powers, and I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I'll go with that one for now. So I'll keep you updated if I change my mind later someday. Okay, it's not great, but we're gonna keep working on it. Okay, I had to clean up because I was getting so itchy just sitting in all of my hair. So I cleaned up, I changed, and I cleaned up the cut a little bit. I have sustained 2 injuries. It's still a little bit bleeding, so I'm not going to show you that. It's not the greatest cut, obviously, because it's done at home, but I am pretty happy with it. It's a lot off, obviously. I don't know if I am putting side by side. Hopefully editing me is smart enough to put side by side, but I think it's good enough. It's not amazing, but if I actually attempt to style it, it might be something else. I might even take off more so that I have a little bit more volume here. It's good enough. It is just so much easier to work with than the long hair was. But I do have a couple more questions that I wanted to answer just because it's been pretty fun, and I was also kind of really not the greatest at multitasking. So let me pull those up. All right, Catherine Zofrey asked me a million questions. So her first one was, what is your favorite genre? And I think my favorite genre is probably YA fantasy. I don't tend to read a lot of adult fantasy. I'll read middle grade fantasy too though, so I think I like fantasy the most, or contemporaries, but fantasies are always like very fun escapes. So I would say YA fantasies for the most part. I think. Whew. I need to think on that one too. She also asked, how is teaching going? This is a tough one for me because I do love teaching, but there are a lot of struggles with teaching, and I have been struggling a lot with them lately. Teaching remote is not an issue for me. I kind of enjoy actually being at home more. It's less time doing a lot of work that you have to do at school, like morning duties, afternoon duties, lunch duties, and you're not constantly with children, which gets very exhausting sometimes. But I mean, I love my students a lot. That's the best part about teaching always, but I am struggling with a lot of the other parts of it, and I'm not sure if teaching is going to be my forever job. I am considering taking a break from it for a little bit in the near future and deciding if I'm going to go back to it after a little step away. But I do love my kids, and they're the part that's keeping me there. But there's a lot of other aspects to teaching that isn't just teaching something fun to a bunch of students. So it's going. I'm struggling, but my kids are really great this year. I have really great and very responsible kids this year, and I'm so thankful because being remote is very different. So I'm glad that they are adapting to it really well. All right, she also asks, how are you so fantastic? You are. And Nat from Nerdy Nat Reads asked, what is your favorite food? And Chipotle. It's right around the corner for me. I love everything that you can get there, all of the mix and match stuff that you can do with it. But yeah, I'd have to say probably Chipotle is my favorite go-to meal. But I like burgers and fries and anything, but Chipotle is like #1 probably. All right, that is all that I have. I'm sorry that the quality kept changing and it was kind of probably a mess to watch. But thank you for being here and watching me go on this hair cutting semi-quarter life crisis, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. I think it turned out decent. I don't know. I don't really mind it. I'm not a big hair person anyway, so thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everybody who asked me questions. It was really fun to answer those. So I will see you guys in the next one. All right, bye-bye. I hope these heal. It's gonna not be fun to make that turkey tomorrow. Ooh, I'm gonna